So my next question is for Rahul. So amidst the evolving privacy landscape, we know that it does change every day, and Tanin highlighted a few of the challenges. I would like for you to help us understand or highlight a few developments in 2023 in terms of some of the key legislations or enforcement actions or advancements that have actually influenced, the protection of an individual's privacy across the globe.
So, like after Tanan's elaborate answer, I'll just try and provide the overall landscape, the shift that we are seeing fundamentally. So now we are at a stage wherein we have 165 countries globally who have data protection laws enacted in some form. And India became an addition to this in the August 2023. There are a lot more actions happening on an enforcement front across the globe, especially like I was surprised to see enforcement actions in Middle East, Africa, Kenya, Nairobi, and in Korea, Japan, Australia, Singapore. EU has already been doing it, but also like FTC. FTC launched one of the biggest investigation cases against Amazon for their deceitful privacy practices. And plus, FTC is pretty active in enforcing data privacy standards to the companies that are operating in the US. And so, like, it's a remarkable shift compared to just like 1.5 years back when the enforcements were pretty low. Now, this is an age of even like China. China has so many enforcement actions against the companies for excessive sharing of data, not complying with the provisions, etc. So, I mean, once our law gets enacted, we'll also have much to look in terms of how that is enforced when the data protection board is formed and comes into force. But in terms of like overall legislative developments, we have seen frameworks like the the US and EU data privacy framework, US UK data bridge. There are free trade agreements like CPTPP and transatlantic framework, wherein they have some provisions on what uh, data transfers and data localization provisions would look like. And then we have Convention 108, which is provided by Council of Europe, which requires it's sort of not obligatory binding, but has some best practices with respect to data privacy. So for 31 countries, including Hungary, etc., the latest ones that ratified to this Convention 108 on data privacy. What else? We have the data free flow with trust got endorsement, like which was proposed by G20. Unfortunately, did not find mention in the India's presidency G20 declaration, but got adopted by G7 as one of the foremost pillars on which cross-border data flows can take place. We had the OECD guidelines on government access, which was also adopted parallelly by the EU. Very interesting discussions on that. So, like, yeah, this has been an year of legislative plus enforcement developments in space of privacy, and it's like looking like a one-way street. So there's always like to be more action in the times to come.
Thank you, Rahul. I think that was quite a concise and precise way of providing a quick rewind of what 2023 has looked like in terms of, privacy laws and development. Um, yeah, so I think my next question again here is for Tanin. So, considering the developments in terms of AI, I think everyone has been talking about artificial intelligence, and there have been a lot of developments in AI and analytics. How do you think privacy technologies could keep up with, the emerging threats that you mentioned at the beginning, and also, strike a right balance between the innovation that's happening and also protecting the rights of the data subjects?
Thank you, Kirti. Well, uh, well, as you people know that there are few basic things that each individuals at the company level has to implement. Whether implementing, as I was referring to my previous answer, that is implementing new solutions and having a robust governance program framework in company helps getting updated, whether it's new artificial intelligence or any kind of data analytics that comes into picture. And this rapid changes that are happening across the world, we got to make sure that we update our policies, we have a proactive compliance measures implemented in our organizations. Now, about all that, I came across probably three privacy technology that I would like to mention out here, and people out here can go back and see, Google it out, and can know more about it. But I'll give you a brief about three that we'll talk about today. It's one is called differential privacy. Now, what exactly it's differential privacy? So these are the three types of privacy solutions or privacy technology that you can talk about, which are being implemented to make sure that we have a robust governance system.
So Rahul, in the meantime, would you want to maybe add on your thoughts or, uh, whatever you feel in terms of your experience?
Yes. So, I mean, specifically with respect to machine learning, large language models, plus artificial intelligence, and how analytics can be run by combining different data sets of same or different kinds to like derive some meaningful analysis, plus also find some insights which can be troubling for some folks. So, uh, I think, and recently we've seen the example of deepfakes, which is gaining attention, and that sort of forced even the Indian Prime Minister to come and talk about the challenges with respect to of challenges of artificial intelligence and using and mining of data. So, like, this is going to be a tough time. It's we have seen from the Ukraine, Russia plus Israel, Hamas war that it's very difficult to identify what is truth, what is fake. There are just multiple iterations and multiple versions of same information going around. And with help of technology, with help of solutions and tools, this is going to be even exacerbated. So it's going to be even tougher. And it's important that we then draw those lines and what kind of uses with data can be permitted, what is not, how can we safeguard against specific misuses. I don't, the criminals and the people with bad intent won't follow the rules that you said. But again, like if we can create some kind of deterrence, some kind of like we can reward the good behavior, the innovation, but we also simultaneously have to have larger rates of enforcement plus convictions against violators of individual privacy. And that's why, like you see, even in the DPDP Act, it tries to enforce individuals to carry on some duties like data protection duties, and one of them is like not impersonating or being someone else to preserve someone's individual privacy. But it also simultaneously then exempts the processing of publicly available data which is put out by individuals. And since like these large models rely on scraping data and then analyzing them to present you something with meaningful, so this is going to be, I mean, a big challenge when it comes to actual enforcement and how this gets enforced here. And from a company viewpoint, I think companies would want to use as much data as possible for their business operations to enhance their productivity and profits. But use of data in violation of law with heavy fines and penalties could also be a big challenge. So this this question that you put, the balance between innovation and safeguarding individual privacy, I think that is a question that needs to be asked at every layer of a significant quantum plus sensitivity of information processing, including the board, including management, including at the mid level, junior level, etc. If these questions are put, I think we'll be able to build some safeguards accordingly at all layers. But it has to be done in the organization. It has to be done within the government. It has to be done like in different circles, like constantly putting questions. And whenever you have doubts, just flag for the higher people to take action. I think that's what we do for other areas as well. So privacy won't be any different.
I'm referring to the three privacy technologies that I was talking about. One is a differential privacy. What it does is it adds layers of noise and randomness in the AI data, which protect individuals' privacy. So it's a very big topic to talk about differential privacy, but you can go back and individuals can search about it. There are a lot many videos on YouTube which talks about differential privacy and how it's implemented. And this is one of those people coming from a pharmaceutical company, and where they have to make sure that we need to have such data. So differential privacy is one of the features that is getting implemented in lot many local level, and companies are picking up this as one of the solutions to make sure that individuals' privacies are intact. So moving to the next point I would talk about is homomorphic encryption. Now, what it does is we know that we pick up information, or we pick up data points, we send it to the servers, and then they encrypt it. And then after encryption, we kind of process the data. Rather than doing that, there's one more way of doing. People are doing right now. It's like they're getting the data and they're doing the encryption at their at the storage level, at the location they are taking the data, and the data which is getting processed is the encrypted data. So encrypted data is getting processed, and after getting encrypted data processed, that it is later on decrypted when it is required. Until unless not required, it is the data is encrypted at the encryption at the very beginning level. So in that case, what happens that if some data which has been collected from a different location which is very far from your main center, so the data is getting stored, is encrypted, and you are sending the encrypted data to your main server, which is getting processed, and you are not until unless you don't need to get a solution out of it. You don't need to keep it, or rather you need to decrypt it. So the encryption key lies at the local level rather than on the server level, which is also one of the solutions people are nowadays using it, and one of the good thing that people can Google it out and read about it. Now, one more thing which is very commonly used, which is called as AI-powered data annotations, which is nothing, just like advanced AI algorithm, which is making sure that it's one more way of making that you're putting more noise in the data set that you are collecting, and making sure that your data is intact and privacy of the individuals.
Thank you so much, Tanin. So I think we are at the end of the session. So I would like to take the last few minutes to thank both the speakers who've joined us today. It was nice to have seasoned industry leaders and enthusiasts talk about privacy and what they feel about some of the most important questions that are concerning organizations today. So thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Tanan, for joining us today and helping us with your views. We can't wait to go back and read more on everything that's been discussed here.